Powerlifting is a sport composed by three main disciplines called lifts. They are in order: squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. Each athlete has 3 attempts with 1 minute per attempt
to start the lift.
There are 3 referees, and each of them give a white light in case of a good lift and a red light in case of a no lift.
The athletes are separated per weight, age and sex category. The sum of each of the best attempts per lift builds the total, and the athlete with the bigger total is the winner. In case of a draw, the lighter lifter wins.
The squat is the first movement of the competition. On that lift, the use of the legs and the back is extremely important. Once the athlete stands erect with his knees locked and the bar on his back, the central referee gives the squat command. The lifter then bends his knees and lowers his body until the top surface of the legs at the hip joint are lower than the top surface of his knees. He then comes back up, locking his knees and hips in order to complete the lift. The central referee will then give the rack command, and the athlete has to put the bar on the squat rack. There are 3 main mistakes to avoid in order to not have a no lift on the squat. First, if the athlete isn't standing erect with his knees locked at the beginning and at the end of the squat event. Second, if the proper competition depth isn't reached at the bottom of the movement. Third, if the athlete doesn't complete the lift with a single upward movement, meaning if the bar goes down during the ascent of the movement.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to the 2023 IPF World Sub-Junior and Junior Powerlifting Championships here in Cluj-Napoca, Romania, the heart of Transylvania. I'm joining you this morning, Amelia Potter, and we have the 43 kilo, 47 kilo junior and sub-junior women. It will consist of 2 flights. The first flight we have will be all of these sub-junior women in the 43 kilo and 47 kilo category, followed by the next flight of lifters who will be all of the junior lifters in the 43 kilo and 47 kilo category. As you can see on screen here, we had a running order, and kicking us off we have Kurase Ishii of Japan opening on 60 kilos for squats. We will be jumping between the 43 kilo and 47 kilo, so if you're wondering what weight class they fit into, it should say just above their country. Took a while to get the squat command there, but it doesn't cause her any issues. It is a good lift. We now have Pragati Nair of India, 18 years old, and has already been competing for 5 years, opening on 62.5 kilos. And that is a good lift. Seeing some really good choices from the teams here for their opening attempts. Something easy for the lifters that if they needed to for any reason retake, that they can without any issues. There's a lovely deep squat as well from there. We have Ada Imola Juka of Hungary, opening with 65 kilos, sorry. 5 kilos above her current best squat. Sub-juniors often progress at such a rate that we can't keep up with their squat PBs. And it is a good lift. You can see here Ada was not squatting with a belt.
The bar is loaded, 67.5 kilograms.
Kristina Ulyanik of Ukraine, 67.5 kilos. Kristina competed earlier in the week in the equipped. Nice to see her here in the classic as well. And that is a good lift. If I remember Kristina well enough, I'm sure we will see more and more chalk build up on her face as the day goes on.
Coming up next is Stefano Pellicola. The bar is loaded, 67.5.
We now have Tiffany Punikova of Great Britain, our first British athlete this championships, 67.5 kilos. And lovely and deep there. No belt, no knee sleeves, as raw as it can get. 3 white lights. Fantastic first attempt from Tiffany. Look at that depth. You'd expect nothing else less from an ex-gymnast. We now have Trinity Klinger of the United States, opening on 67.5 kilos. Nice, easy looking opener for Trinity, and a good lift.
Up next is Lydia Groskowiak from Poland. Lydia Groskowiak, trying 80 kilograms. The bar is loaded.
We have Lydia Groskowiak of Poland opening on 80 kilos, 6 kilos below her current best, which means I imagine she does or has held a Polish record. Nice, sturdy looking opener. And a good lift.
Coming up next is Lena Tarvainen from Finland. The bar is loaded, 82.5.
We have Jenna Tavainen of Finland, 82.5 kilos. 15 years old. Opening on her current best squat. And it is a good lift. Not our fastest opener by far, but still looking really strong.
The bar is loaded, 90 kilograms. Julia Jurczyk, Poland.
Julia Jurczyk of Poland, opening on 90 kilos. This is her last year in the sub-junior category. A nice, strong-looking opener for Julia, and a good lift.
Coming up next is Tessa Roberts from Mexico. The bar is loaded.
Tessa Roberts of Mexico opening on 90 kilos, and our first Mexican athlete we've had all championships as well. It's really cool to see. It's a nice looking opener. 3 white lights, a good lift, and looking really strong heading into squats.
And going down to 92.5 kilograms. The bar is loaded.
We now have 16-year-old Donglei Gu of Chinese Taipei, competed earlier in the week in the equipped and did very well. Now opening second to last in the classic with 92.5 kilos. Very technically proficient squat from Donglei and a good lift. We've seen before that she does a great job of maintaining that form as the weight gets heavier.
Plus 95 kilograms. The bar is loaded.
We now have Paula Calero Baño of Spain opening on 95 kilos. Now it's worth mentioning that the sub-junior world record in the 47 kilo class is 116. So let's see how this opener of 95 kilo moves for Paula. It's already over double body weight. And a good lift, a strong start to the day, and I'm looking forward to where she goes on her second.
67.5.
That concludes our opening squats with all lifters getting an opener in, which is fantastic news moving through to seconds. They are safe until at least the very first bench press to continue building their total. And first out, we have Kirase Ishii of Japan jumping 7.5 kilos to 67.5 for her second attempt. A sizable jump considering the body weight of these girls. Ooh, and a little bit of work. I'm worried that she stepped that back there. Yeah, such a shame. She fought through it really well, but I'm sure you'll be able to catch that in the replay here. She sits it down, pushes through that difficult part, but her right foot steps back, and unfortunately, after you've got the squat command, you cannot move your feet. We now have Kristina Ulyanik of Ukraine jumping 5 kilos to 72.5. And as I predicted, the piling on of chalk has begun. She pushes through it. Lets out a scream, but unfortunately it just was not deep enough. 3 red lights for Kristina. And yeah, I think she just cut depth there. Sunk her body down, but unfortunately did not continue to sink her hips down. But has another try of it on her third attempt. We now have Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary. 72.5 kilos. A 7.5 kilo jump. fights through it there. A little bit hard, but she manages to push through, and it is a good lift. Interesting, her eye line there looks off to the left. Can't quite catch it there, but wondering if that threw her off at all. Something caught her eye. Maybe that's just how she squats. We now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain, 72.5 kilos. And it's going to be a tight race in the 43 kilo category. And I don't think there's any question on depth there for Tiffany. A good lift. 3 white lights. And hurts my knees just watching to see her do that without knee sleeves. Incredibly impressive. We have Pragati Nair of India jumping 5 kilos to 72.5. And stands it up. I think just knocks the hand of the spotter there. And a good lift. Did well to manage to push through that, as that could have knocked her off balance. No, I'm not sure what she did knock into there, but did a great job of standing up nonetheless. Trinity Klinger of the United States, jumping to 72.5 kilos on her second attempt. A lovely, controlled looking squat from Trinity. And it is a good lift. Being able to control your squat like that and maintain form bodes really well for when the weight gets heavier as we get into third attempts. Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland, 85 kilos. 1 kilo behind her national record in Poland. That is a good lift. I imagine should she get her next squat in, it will be a new Polish record. Jenna Tarvainen of Finland, jumping 5 kilos to 87.5. Knees cave a little bit there, but does well to fight it up. And it is a good lift for Jenna. I think maybe 2.5 kilos, the max she'll be able to go there on her third attempt. 2.5 kilos is the smallest increment that you can jump in powerlifting unless it is for a world record. However, for the 43 and 47 kilo women, it is a considerable jump still compared to, let's say, the 120 plus men. Julia Jurgic of Poland, 95 kilos. Ooh, unfortunately, can't get quite through that sticking point in the middle there. I'm thinking her form broke down a little bit, pushing through on the way up.
Coming up next from Mexico is Tessa Roberts, trying 95 kilograms. The bar is
Yeah, she sinks it so fast into the hole that I think she loses a bit of tension, and it's just so much harder to push up from that following. Tessa Roberts of Mexico, jumping 5 kilos to 95 for her second attempt. Ooh, wow, what a fantastic fight from Tessa Roberts there. 3 white lights, got stuck at a standstill but managed to keep the bar from going down. And there's a good lift for it.
Trying 97.5. The bar is loaded.
Now Dongli Gu of Chinese Taipei, 97.5 kilos. And that looked even easier than her opener. But unfortunately, 2-1, a no lift gets called on depth from the center and right hand side referee. This is the side she gets the white from that we can see here in the replay. And of course from that side it does look good. We now have Paula Calero Baño of Spain, 102.5 kilos for her second attempt. 7.5 kilo jump. This will bring her back into squat gold heading into third attempts. 2.5 kilos above her current squat PB for her second. And still looking extremely strong. 3 white lights, a good lift. And lifting less than 15 kilos below the world record there in her second. I think it will be a bit of a leap to get there for her third, but she's going to get close. And that concludes our second attempts. We can see where we stand heading now into the thirds. There is a tight race in the 43s and a close race for second and third in the 47s. We have Kurose Ishii of Japan retaking 67.5 kilos, missed it on her second, hoping to come back now and get it on her third. Ooh, she fights it through, manages to keep her feet stationary this time round. Ooh, but unfortunately 2-1, a no lift. Gets called on depth from the center and side referee. We can see here the side that got the white. Seems like definitely from this side she dips into the hole, but of course this is the side that she gets the good lift from. And unfortunately, the coach goes up to the jury, and I think it's going to stay a no lift. Kristina Ulynik of Ukraine missed 72.5 kilos on her second for depth. Coming back for it now on her third, and is going to want the extra kilos to stay ahead of Pilnikova overall. And she stands it back up, but was it deep enough this time round? It was. 3 white lights, a good lift. And stays ahead of Pilnikova by 2.5 kilos with that squat. Of course, many things can happen in bench and deadlift. Ada Mola-Yuka of Hungary, 75 kilos. This will move her into squat gold in the 43 kilo class, with Pilnikova to follow, who is slightly lighter. And unfortunately, just a little bit too heavy for Ada today.
Coming up next is Tiffany Pilnikova from Great Britain. The bar is loaded 75 kilos.
We now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain, 75 kilos, and this will be to take squat gold and those extra needed kilos to keep up with Ulinik. And wow, what a push. A perfect last call, I think, there for Tiffany. And a good lift. She walks away with squat gold and keeps the gap tight between her and Ulinik. We now have Trinity Klinger of the United States, 77.5 kilos. Her second attempt looked nice and controlled with room left in the tank. So let's see what 5 extra kilos does to her here. And is still looking strong with room to go if she needed it. A good lift. And a new 5 kilo personal best. Moving like an opener. We now have Pragati Nair of India. A 7.5 kilo jump to 80 kilos, took a 10 kilo jump from her opener, which is a big jump in this weight category. Now taking still a pretty big jump to her third, 7.5 kilos. Ooh, and she's fighting through it, and wow, what a fantastic effort. Gets stuck at the bottom there. 2 to 1, a good lift, but fought it up. Just a blue call from the center referee for downwards movement. But yeah, I think the bar stayed stationary. I don't think it moved down, so I think she'll be safe there. Fantastic effort. We now have Jenna Tervainen of Finland, jumping 2.5 kilos to 90. She is in the race for podium overall, so these extra kilos are going to help her when it comes to deadlifts. Ooh, but just couldn't fight through that knee cave this time round. And unfortunately, it is a no lift. A knee cave isn't inherently a bad thing for lifters. Some people lift like that every single time and it works for them. But when you see it happen more and more as it gets heavier, you know it's usually an issue for the lifter. We now have Lydia Grishkowiak, 90 kilos. Ooh, but unfortunately, just a bit too much there. Her hips continued to move up, but unfortunately her body did not, and the bar rolled towards her neck. Julia Jurczyk of Poland, retaking 95 kilos, missed it on her second, is looking now to get it on her third for squat bronze. Wow, a fantastic effort, but just couldn't get through that middle sticking point there. But she's still in the race for podium overall. It's just made a little bit harder as the gap closes for her there. Now have Tessa Roberts of Mexico, 97.5 kilos, a sensible 2.5 kilo jump, as her second attempt was pretty difficult, but she managed to push through it. Wow, can she push through it for another time? She can. What an incredible fight from Tessa Roberts there. 3 white lights, a good lift, and to push past a squat like that once is amazing. To do it twice is outstanding. A well-deserved squat for Roberts. Now have Dong Li Gu of Chinese Taipei, 97.5 kilos. Already has squat bronze, but this will add 5 kilos to her total. She will need to stay in the fight moving forwards. Ooh, and that looked much better there. Still maintains the good form. And 3 white lights, a good lift. She gets those extra 5 kilos, which are going to be oh so important when it comes down to it in deadlifts. We now have Paula Calero Baño, our final squatter of this first flight. 110 kilos, just 6 kilos below the world record in the sub-juniors. To be a 7.5 kilo PB. And should she get this, I imagine we'll see her tackle the world record next time round on the platform. Already has a hefty lead, but this will pull her even further in front. Fights through it, but unfortunately just a little bit too much today for Paula. Still walks away with squat gold with 102.5 kilos. An over double body weight squat. We move straight through now to the junior lifters, 43 kilo and 47 kilo women. And kicking us off, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico. 60 kilos. And that is a good lift.
Coming up next is from Kazakhstan, trying 75 kilograms. The bar is loaded.
Now have Karina Chikova of Kazakhstan, opening on 75 kilos. Nice strong looking opener for Karina. And a good lift.
Coming up next from India is Sri Lakshmi, trying 80 kilograms. The bar is loaded for Sri Lakshmi, India.
We now have Sri Lakshmi of India, 80 kilos for her opening attempt. Looking nice and strong there. And a good lift, 3 white lights.
Sri Lakshmi, India.
We're used to seeing a lot of Indian athletes in the equipped, and it's nice to see them start filling out the classic as well now,
90 kilograms.
especially with that lovely new SBD singlet.
The bar is loaded.
Now have Jessa May Tabuan of the Philippines opening on 90 kilos. And she smiles before she even gets in the hole, knowing it feels good on her back. And it is a good lift for Jessa May.
Coming up next, Veronica Oldham from the Philippines. The bar is loaded.
100 kilos for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. Another strong looking at opening attempt there. And a good lift. Great start from Team Philippines there.
Coming up next is Julia Maslańskowska from Poland. The bar is loaded. Julia Maslańskowska.
Julia Maslańkowska of Poland opening on 102.5 kilos. Just gets told to re-rack there, saying that she's got soft knees, needs to make sure her knees are fully erect before she can get the squat command. Gets it this time round, doesn't seem to have any issues with the weight. A good lift.
Julia Maslańskowska. Coming up next, Sara Cialanino from Italy. The bar is loaded. Sara Cialanino.
We have Sara Giavino of Italy, 105 kilos for her opening attempt, the heaviest opening attempt in the 43 kilo class. The world record in the open and junior belonging to Tiffany Chapon with 161 kilos. A lovely looking opener from Sara and a good lift.
105 kilograms. Coming up next from Italy is Martina Fortuna. The bar is loaded. 105.
We have Martina Fortuna of Italy opening on 105 kilos. Predicted second overall. Let's hope her last name is foretelling. Oh, and and she's fighting through it, stands it up. And a fantastic effort. She looks a little bit confused there, but nonetheless, 3 white lights, a good lift. And is safe on the board. A hard-looking opener, and I'm hoping it was a technical issue there. You have Marielle van der Bosch of the Netherlands, 112.5 kilos. A little bit slow on the way up there, but moved well. 2-1, a good lift. The Team Netherlands singlet is just so nice. You have Marta Scuderi of Italy, our heaviest opener of this flight with 115 kilos. Well over double body weight for her opener. Wow, super speedy. A lovely looking opener, and 2-1, a good lift. Just gets a depth call from the right-hand side referee. This, of course, is the side she gets the white light for. Looks good from here, but it would do. And some lifters do have issues getting one hip as low as the other, so it may be a case of that if we keep seeing a red on that one side. We move straight through to our second attempt. And kicking us off, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico, 65 kilos. Ooh, unfortunately not quite deep enough for Valeria. The strength looks like it's there, but she's gonna need to just sink it lower for her third attempt. She's a couple of inches off of depth there. $82.5 kilos for Karina Tichkova of Kazakhstan.
82.5 kilograms on the bar.
Fights through really nicely there. And 3 white lights, a good lift. That was a 7.5 kilo jump from her opener, which is a fairly big jump in the 43 kilo class. Not much left in the tank, I don't think. I think a 2.5 kilo jump there would be sensible. Sri Lakshmi of India, jumping 7.5 kilos to 87.5 on her second attempt. Ooh, gets caught in that sticking point in the middle, shakes her head for the spotters to take it, and unfortunately a no lift. As she was descending in the hole there, it did seem like her chest was going more and more forwards, which perhaps put her in a position to push through, making it very difficult to do so. So perhaps something actually she can fix in her third if she just tries to stay a little bit more upright.
100 kilograms is
Jessamay Tabuan of the Philippines jumping 10 kilos to 100 for her second attempt. This is a very sizable jump. She smiles again as she gets to the top of the squat, and for good reason. 3 white lights, a good lift. Jessamay's squats are so controlled. And as I said before, that is going to help her as the weight gets heavier. Veronica Ompod of the Philippines jumping 7.5 kilos to 107.5. And just like her teammate, makes really nice work of that. And 3 white lights, a good lift. Some lovely squats we're seeing from Team Philippines here.
From Poland is Julia Maslanskowska. The bar is ready. 107.5 kilograms.
We have Julia Maslankowska of Poland, 107.5 kilos. Fight through it. Fantastic effort. And 3 white lights, a good lift. Really sunk it into the hole there.
Coming up next is Martina Fortuna.
Not too sure how far she has to go for her third.
The bar is loaded. She's going to try 107.5.
Martina Fortuna of Italy now, 107.5 kilos. Her opener was quite hard, jumping the minimum amount of 2.5 kilos. And hopefully it was just a technical issue, but it did look heavy. There is only 2.5 kilos between second and fourth in the 47s. Martina is in the mix. And she's biting through it, stands it up. Wow, a huge effort from Martina Fortuna and a good lift.
Coming up next is Sara Ciarachino from Italy, trying 110 kilograms.
And actually looked very similar to her opener. We have Sara Ciavino of Italy, 110 kilos. Will be leading the 43s for the time being by 7.5 kilos should she get this in projected totals. Ahead of Ompod. A good fight, stands it up. And it is a good lift.
And it's a good lift for Sara. Coming up next, we're going to have Van Bosch from the Netherlands, trying 117.5 kilograms.
We have Mirelle van der Bosch of the Netherlands, 117.5 kilos. Lovely looking second attempt there. And 3 white lights, a good lift, and has room in the tank to head to a third attempt.
Trying out 132.5 kilos.
We have just one final second attempt before we head through to our third and final attempts for the second flight of lifters. We have Marta Scuderi of Italy, 122.5 kilos. Should she get this, she secures herself squat gold. And stands it up with ease. And 3 white lights, a good lift on her second attempt, has secured the gold squat medal as the heaviest third attempt put in is Van der Bosch, and that is 120 kilos. So Scuderi walks away with the squat gold, and we head into our third attempts. Kicking us off, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico, missed 65 kilos on her second attempt. Looking to get it now on her third. It just wasn't quite deep enough. And she fights it up. Are the referees happier with that? 3 white lights, a good lift, and yes they are. That time round it was deep enough. And she gets the 65 kilos.
Coming up next is Karina Krishna from Kazakhstan, trying 85 kilograms. The bar is available for Karina Krishna.
We now have Karina Chichkova of Kazakhstan jumping 2.5 kilos to 85 for her final attempt. Already has squat bronze secured. Ooh, but can't quite fight through that middle point there. Doesn't lose out on anything. Already has squat bronze with 82.5 kilos.
The bar is loaded, 87.5.
Retaking 87.5 kilos, we have Sri Lakshmi of India. Managed to stand it up. The referee's happy with that this time round. 3 white lights, a good lift, gets the 87.5.
It's a good lift for Sri Lakshmi. Coming up next is Jessamine Tabwan from the Philippines, trying 102.5 kilograms. She's only 21 years old, the bar is loaded.
We have Jessa May Tabwan of the Philippines now, jumping 2.5 kilos to 102.5. This will be a 2.5 kilo PB for Jessa May. has been competing for 9 years already at the age of 21. And that is a lovely looking third with lots of energy left to go for bench and deadlift and a good lift. Jessamay Tabwan is in the mix for podium overall, so doesn't want to waste any kilos heading forwards.
The bar is ready.
110 kilos for Julia Maslankowska of Poland. .5 kilo jump from her second and pull her into squat bronze for the time being, with Fortuna to follow. There's a lovely deep squat. Can she fight through it? Wow, what an amazing grind. Oh, but unfortunately, a no lift for Martina Fortuna, which means, sorry, Maslankowska. We now have Martina Fortuna also taking 110 kilos. And as she is lighter, she already has the squat bronze ahead of Maslankowska. Now her opener and her second looked hard, but perhaps that's just the way that she lifts. So if anyone can surprise me, I'm sure it's Martina Fortuna. And does she do it again? She does not, I'm afraid. No lift, but still walks away with squat bronze.
The bar is ready.
112.5 kilos for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. This will move her into gold medal position in the squats in the 43 kilo junior category, ahead of Chiavino for the time being. And she smiles once again. It's a lovely looking third attempt and a good lift. She moves into squat gold and can only wait and see if that is going to be taken away from her by Sara Chiavino. 115 kilos now for Sara Chiavino of Italy to retake squat gold. And she fights through it. Can she stand it up? Oh, unfortunately not. She still walks away with squat silver, but it means that Ompod of the Philippines walks away with squat gold. And just a reminder to the lifters to stay with the bar and help the spotters and loaders re-rack it. Now have Meryl van der Bosch of the Netherlands, 120 kilos for her third and final attempt to be a matched squat PB. And she works through it very nicely, with ease it seems. And 3 white lights, a good lift. And she walks away with squat silver. We have our final squat of this morning's session before moving to a 10-minute break before heading into bench press. And we have Marta Scuderi of Italy jumping another 7.5 kilos to 130 for her final attempt. She already has squat gold and the lead overall, but to add 7.5 kilos to her total and 5 kilos to her personal best, 130. And she stands it up. The question was it deep enough? No, unfortunately not. I think by the face she pulled afterwards, she knew she cut it short a little bit. But an amazing effort nonetheless, and still walks away with a significant lead and squat gold. We're going to have a 10-minute break now before heading into bench press. But first up in the 43 kilo sub-junior category, in gold for squat we have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain. In silver, Kristina Ulyanik of Ukraine. And in bronze, Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary. In the 47 kilo sub-junior category, in squat gold we have Paula Calero Baño of Spain. In silver we have Tessa Roberts of Mexico. And in bronze we have Dongli Gu of Chinese Taipei. In gold squat for the 43 kilo juniors, we have Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. In silver, we have Sara Giavino of Italy. And I'm afraid that is all we have on the sheet for us. But we will be able to recap that at the beginning of bench press. We have a 10-minute break now before heading into that. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you then.
The bench press is the second movement performed in a powerlifting competition. It's a movement that mainly uses upper body strength. A slight back arch is authorized and allows for a stronger and healthier shoulder positioning. Laying down on the bench, the athlete has to create points of contact between his head, shoulder, glutes, and the bench. His feet has to lay flat on the ground, with the heels in the contact with the floor. Once that position is locked, the central referee gives the start command. The lifter lowers the bar until it touches his chest. The lower underside of both of his elbow joints have to be at level or below the top surface of each shoulder joint. He then has to stabilize the bar for the referee to give him the press command. The lifter has to push the bar back up until the complete extension of his elbows. The central referee gives the rack command and the lift is completed.
There are 4 main reasons to have a no lift on that movement. First, if you're not able to fully extend your elbows at the beginning and at the end of the movement. Second, if you don't touch the chest with the bar, or if your elbows don't go at level or below the top of your shoulder joint. Third, if you're not able to maintain all points of contact with the bench, knowing the head, the shoulders, and the butt. Fourth, if the lift isn't completed in a single upward movement.
Hello and welcome back. We've just had our squats and we are heading straight now into our bench press for the 43 kilo and 47 kilo sub-junior women. And kicking us off, we have Pragati Nair of India opening on 30 kilos. This is 10 kilos below her current best, so well within her reach, I would think. Nice and easy there. And 3 white lights, a good lift.
Coming up next is USA Ishii, Japan. The same weight 30 kilograms, the bar is loaded.
We now have Kirase Ishii of Japan, 30 kilos. Opting to get a handout here from the spotter. And a lovely opener there from Kirase Ishii of Japan, and a good lift.
Coming up next is Christina Iliani from Hungary, trying 40 kilograms. The bar is loaded.
We now have Kristina Ulinik of Ukraine opening on 40 kilos. Now there is a tight race here in the 43s, particularly between Kristina Ulinik and Tiffany Pilinikova of Great Britain. So every kilo counts. And she locks it out a little harder than you want your opening attempt to be.
And it's a good lift for
3 white lights, a good lift. She shakes her head as she leaves the platform, perhaps aware that that felt harder than maybe she'd want it to. Especially in bench press, the drop off is so fast some of the time that it can just keep moving and then it stops. We have Ade Müller Yuka of Hungary opening on 40 kilos. A very popular opener in this flight, with the next 5 lifters taking it. Again, a little bit of trouble for Ada, but she managed to push through, and it is a good lift. But it does beg the question, where did these lifters go now that the opener was so heavy? Because the smallest jump you can make is 2.5, and as I keep saying, that is still a significant jump for these ladies, especially in bench press. We now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain opening on 40 kilos. And that's more like it. A lovely snappy opener. And 3 white lights, a good lift. And that's how you want your opening attempt to look. Somewhere where you know you have a place to go for your second and your third. You have 2 more attempts after your opener, and you want to continue to build and grow your total from there. And if you have to retake it, you want it to be a weight that you know that you can do. Tessa Roberts of Mexico, 40 kilos. Another nice looking opener there. And 3 white lights, a good lift. We have Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland, 40 kilos for her opening attempt. Already 2.5 kilos above her best. Lovely soft touch and a nice moving opener. 3 white lights, a good lift.
Coming up next is 383 pounds from the United States, the bar is loaded.
40 kilos remains in the bar for Trinity Klinger of the United States. A little bit tricky, but she locks it out, and it's a good lift. Hoping that a lot of these more difficult looking openers are because of nerves rather than strength issues, as I'm hoping that the coaches would have caught that in the warm-up area. We now have Donglei Gu of Chinese Taipei, 42.5 kilos. And that is a lovely speedy opener and a good lift.
Coming up next is Julia Lubczyk from Poland, lying 50 kilograms. A pair of earbuds have been found. The bar is loaded. Julia Lubczyk.
We now have Julia Jurczyk of Poland, 50 kilos. Nice easy looking opener and a good lift. Perfect parallel elbow depth there, and it's worth mentioning that there is a new rule as of this year where lifters during the bench press have to now reach elbow depth, which means that their elbow joint has to be parallel or below the top of their shoulder. We have Jenna Tarvainen of Finland, 57.5 kilos. Ooh, that looked tricky, but she gets it up. And 2-1, a good lift. And speaking of which, he gets a red from the right-hand side referee for elbow depth. And yeah, you can see there is slightly above parallel, which is what I was alluding to before. We now have our final opening attempt of this first flight of women. Paula Calero Baño of Spain, 62.5 kilos. If she gets this, it's already a 5 kilo bench press BB for her. Nice and steady. 2-1, a good lift, and another lifter called for elbow depth there from the center referee. Let's have a look at that in the replay. I think her left arm was definitely in and her right arm was borderline there, so she might be okay. The jury don't seem to be in too much discussion about it. Pragati Nair of India jumping 5 kilos to 35 for her second attempt. And as it stands, everybody has a bench opener in, so can continue to build a total now. Wow, still super speedy there. And 3 white lights, a good lift. .35 kilos remains on the bar for Kurosei Ishii of Japan. Ooh, it just seems a bit too heavy for Kurosei Ishii. And it's a no lift. Strength issue is almost impossible to come back from. In very rare occasions have we seen someone have a difficult lift like that and get it on their third, but we have seen it happen. We have Kristina Ulyanik of Ukraine jumping 2.5 kilos to 42.5 for her second attempt. Kristina competed only a few days ago in the equipped 43 kilo sub-junior class. Ooh, again, just a bit too heavy, unfortunately. And we were concerned about this in the openers because a lot of these openers for these girls seem to be just a little bit heavy. And thankfully, they all managed to get their openers in. But it's left them in a bit of a precarious situation with 2 attempts left to go. And let's hope that's not the case Here we have Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary, also jumping 2.5 kilos to 42.5. Her opener did look a little tricky. Let's hope it was just shaking off some nerves. But unfortunately, again, it is just not there. I'm afraid a few of these lifters may have just opened a little bit too heavy. It's important to open with what you can and not where you want to end up. You have 3 lifts for a reason. You have Trinity Klinger of the United States also taking a 2.5 kilo jump to 42.5. You can see here Trinity has blocks down which any of the lifters can request should they want them. She's fighting through it. Manages to lock it out. I did see her hips move, so I'm hoping that wouldn't happen. But unfortunately, no lift. She gets 3 yellows there, and I imagine that is for a butt lift. And yeah, miles off of the bench there, I'm afraid. And it is a no lift. You now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain jumping 5 kilos to 45. One of the few lifters whose opening attempt looked like an opening attempt. Jason Koopman, the head coach there, looking on. And there we go. That is a wonderful second attempt and a good lift for Tiffany. 3 white lights. And nice to see lifters starting to get their second attempts in here. With just 2 lifters getting their second attempts so far, of 6, sorry. We have Tessa Roberts of Mexico jumping 5 kilos to 45 for her second attempt. Ooh, unfortunately, does start to push through, but it dips, moves downwards, and I think she realizes it's not worth the drain of energy. You can see here, she touches the chest, pushes up, it dips down, and she says, no, I'm not going to continue fighting that. We now have Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland, 45 kilos, a 5 kilo jump from her opener. And as I said before, the fight for the podium in the 47 kilo class is already close. Fights through. And a good lift, 3 white lights. As I was saying, the fight for podium between a second and 5th even is still pretty close in the 47, so all these missed lifts are going to really open that gap up. We now have Dong Lei Gu of Chinese Taipei jumping 5 kilos to 47.5. And there we go, a nice looking second attempt. Still loads left in the tank and a good lift for Dong Lei Gu. We have Julia Jurczyk of Poland, 52.5 kilos for her second attempt. In and amongst that podium fight overall. Nice strong looking second attempt. And 3 white lights, a good lift. We have Jenna Tavainen of Finland jumping 2.5 kilos to 60 kilos for her second attempt. And currently predicted 5th overall, but that's only 10 kilos below Gu, who is predicted in 3rd. Ooh, it's hard, but she fights through it excellently. And 2-1, a good lift. Gets a depth call from the left-hand side referee this time round. Our last second attempt before moving through to our third and final attempts. We have Paula Calero Baño of Spain, 65 kilos. This is a 2.5 kilo PB for Paula, but also a big milestone getting those blue plates on the bench. Benching well above body weight here. Really tidy looking attempt, and unfortunately 2-1, a no lift gets called from the center and side referee for elbow depth. And it's really close, but unfortunately I think there her right elbow is just above parallel. But she has another shot at that on her third attempt, which we move straight through to now. Kurase Ishii of Japan retaking 35 kilos. And it just didn't seem to want to budge on her second. Let's see if she can make it move on her third. Ooh, unfortunately, even if she could get it up there, skipped the press command, and it is a no lift. I think perhaps saved herself some energy though, because the second looked hard and she's going to need energy heading into the deadlifts. Now I have Kristina Ulyanik of Ukraine, 42.5 kilos. Again, her second looked like a strength issue. Reattempting here on her third in the hope to keep up with Pilnikova of Great Britain, who she is now 2.5 kilos below, even if she gets this. Nice soft touch, but unfortunately it's just too heavy for her today, which means the gap widens to 5 kilos between the two, but nothing that can't be closed on deadlifts, especially with Ulyanik having the bigger deadlift of the two. We now have Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary, missed 42.5 kilos on her second on strength, reattempting it now on her third. But unfortunately, just wouldn't budge. She seems confused. I think maybe thinks the spotters and loaders took it early off of her chest there. Let's have a good look here at the replay. It does seem that maybe they did take it a little bit early, but the question is, if she gets the chance to retake that, does it seem worth it? And she is getting the opportunity to retake it at the end of the round, so 42.5 kilos will be allowed to be retaken by her at the end of this round. But first up we have Pragati Nair of India, 42.5 kilos, a 7.5 kilo jump. and manages to lock it out. 3 white lights, a good lift and a perfect example of opening up light, making the jumps and ending up where you can, not opening on it. We now have Trinity Klinger of the United States, missed 42.5 kilos on her second, looking to reattempt it and get it now on her third. Yeah, and unfortunately, just like her second, the weight is just too much for her today.
Coming up next is Tessa Roberts from Mexico, weighing 35 kilos. The bar is ready.
45 kilos for Tessa Roberts of Mexico. Missed it on her second, looking to retake it now on her third and final attempt. Well in the mix for potential podium overall, so the extra kilos are really going to help to stay in the race. But unfortunately, still just too heavy. And I can see that she's upset about that. But the gap is not closed forever. A lot can happen in deadlifts. And with a lot of people missing their thirds, it's entirely possible that the gap will stay the same. We now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain taking a 2.5 kilo jump to 47.5. Already has bench press gold as well as squat gold. This will give her the extra 2.5 kilos she needs to stay in the lead. And she fights. Can she get it up? It looks like she does. It doesn't look like there was downwards movement. And 3 white lights, a good lift and a perfect call there from the coaching team. That means she now sits 5 kilos ahead of Ulinik heading into deadlifts. Now have Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland, 47.5 kilos for her final attempt. A 2.5 kilo jump from her second. And she pushes through. Yeah, unfortunately got stuck right off of the chest there. And it is a no lift, but doesn't lose too much on that total, having made the smallest possible jump that she could have. Sensible decision. Dongli Gu of Chinese Taipei taking a 2.5 kilo jump to 50 kilos for her final attempt. Giving her the needed kilos as it is so tight in the 47s. Very close grip there. And manages to fight through that tricky part of close grip. 3 white lights, a good lift. Typically when a lifter benches with close grip, it's pretty speedy off the chest and really slows down in that second half, as you can see here. But manages to push through well. A good day for Gu. We now have 55 kilos for Julia Jurczyk of Poland, already in bench press bronze. This will add 2.5 kilos to her total. And she fights through. A perfectly called third attempt there. Don't think you could have added a feather to that bar. 3 white lights, a good lift. And as she's sitting only just in projected second, that's going to mean a lot. 62.5 kilos for Jenna Tarvainen of Finland. This is already a bench press silver medalist. But again, the extra kilos are really going to come in handy. But unfortunately, it's just glued to her chest. Too heavy today for Jenna. But still walks away with bench press silver, nonetheless. Our penultimate bench of this first flight of ladies. But the heaviest one, we have Paula Calero Baño of Spain, 65 kilos. Missed it on her second. On elbow depth. Looking to get it now on her third. If she can just get that right elbow a little bit more parallel. The strength is there. Can she just sink it a little further? But unfortunately, it's just felt too heavy this time round, and it is a no lift. She still has a considerable lead over the rest of the pack, so that won't damage her, and she still walks away with bench press gold. But 65 kilos eludes her today. We now have Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary retaking 42.5 kilos as the spotters just grabbed it a little too early on her original third attempt. The issue was that it was hard on her second, it was difficult on her first third attempt, and I'm concerned that this may be zapping her of some energy she'll need for deadlifts. And it's a good fight, but unfortunately it's just too heavy today. And it is a no lift. And I'm thinking if I was her coach, I perhaps would have said, we'll take the loss on bench. It's only a couple kilos. You're going to need that energy when it comes to deadlifts. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. We move straight to our junior lifters now. The 43 kilo and 47 kilo junior women. Kicking us off, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico with 25 kilos. And a good lift. Karina Chaikova of Kazakhstan opening with 37.5 kilos. Nice easy opener. And a good lift. It looked like a really high touching point from that angle. Whatever works, and it seems to be for Karina. 47.5 kilos for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. speedy looking opener for Veronica and a good lift. Team Philippines have had really good calls with attempts so far this competition. It seems like the bench press opener there for Veronica is no different. Julia Maslankowska of Poland, opening on 50 kilos, already above bodyweight benches here. Just telling the spotter and loader there where she wants the handout given to her. She points to the place on her chest where he wants it to release it. A nice speedy opener and 3 white lights, a good lift.
Coming up next is Martina Fortuna from Italy, trying 57.5 kilograms. Her bar is loaded.
57.5 kilos for Martina Fortuna of Italy. Ooh, unfortunately, I think she just jumped the press command and did the smart thing when someone does that and decides not to push through. Let's just watch that again here. Yeah, I think she just pressed missed the press command, jumped it and decided I'm just going to save my energy to retake that in my second. Jessa May, Tab 1 of Philippines, 60 kilos for her opening attempt. Wow, super speedy. And 2-1, a good lift. Just gets a depth call from the right-hand side referee. Let's see if we can catch that here in the replay. It'll be the right-hand side of your screen here. Yeah, that one is a little bit higher than the left. Seems to be good. We now have Merel van der Bosch of the Netherlands, 62.5 kilos. That is a good lift. You can see there that the lifter opted to have blocks. Any of the lifters can request these. Usually it's for the shorter lifters who need to find that extra leg drive that they struggle with, rather than the tall lifters who reach the ground maybe a little bit easier. I'm 5'3", I would know. We have Sri Lakshmi of India, 62.5 kilos. I think she's saying that the rack height there is wrong. Looks like it's on 1, and she's saying it needs to be on 3. 3 is low enough. I'm sure she does not need 1. It's all fixed now. She's got plenty of time. 17 seconds to get the start command. And there it is. And it moves nicely. 2 to 1, a good lift. A depth call from the right-hand side referee. We just watched that right elbow. That one is slightly higher, but the left is in. It is hard for a lot of lifters because not many people are going to be equal on both sides. Having one hip higher in squats is a great example of that. We have Sara Chiavino of Italy, 65 kilos in the 43 kilo class. The world junior record being 75 kilos. So excited to see how this moves. And it moves well. And 3 white lights, a good lift. I will not be surprised if we see her take a stab at that today. Just 10 kilos off of it there on her opener. So I don't think a 5 kilo equal jump each time is unreasonable. Marta Scuderi, her teammate now, Italy, also opening on 65 kilos in the 47 kilo category. The world record there, however, is 99.5 kilos in both the open and juniors, belonging to Tiff. And nice and powerful, but unfortunately 2 to 1, a no lift, gets called on depth from the center and side referee. Yeah, that seems a little bit more wonky, a bit harder to get away with there. So we have 2 lifters yet to get a bench press in. Scuderi and Fortuna, both of Italy in the 47 kilo class. Scuderi is going to need that. She's the current leader in the 47 kilos. First up, however, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico taking 27.5 kilos on her second attempt. But unfortunately, it just seems too heavy for her today. And it was the smallest increment she could have jumped. And as 25 kilos is the lightest you're allowed to open on, then she couldn't have opened lighter, so it wasn't a case of picking a bad opener there. We have 40 kilos on for Karina Chaikova of Kazakhstan. 2.5 kilo jump from her opener. And that is a good lift. $52.5 kilos for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. A 5 kilo jump from her opener. A little bit harder than her opener, but she did add 5 kilos and it's a good lift. Leaves her in a great place heading into third attempts. $52.5 kilos for Julia Maslankowska of Poland. Just adjusting the blocks there. Still moving well there on her second. And 2-1, a good lift. A depth call from the center referee. Seems to be a lot of depth calls for these athletes this morning. And seems okay on the replay. Seems like she reaches good elbow depth. But of course the referees only have a split second to see it, and we have the replay. Martina Fortuna of Italy missed 57.5 kilos on her opener for elbow depth. Is now looking to retake it for her second. Just needs to convince at least one more referee that she's to depth. Was that her right side last time she struggled with? Oh, but unfortunately, just didn't get it this time. And actually, in reflection, did she jump the start command last time? Now I'm thinking about it. It seems like she might have done a similar thing, and I'm hoping that is the case rather than a strength issue, because there's one last try at that. We now have Marta Scuderi of Italy, our current leader in the 47s, but yet to get a bench press in. Missed 65 on her opener, looking to retake it now on her second. She did miss this because of elbow depth. And again, moves just as fast. And again, 2-1, a no lift. Gets called for elbow depth again from the center and side referee. She has one white light, but I can't see her coach going to the jury to try and get it turned over. So she has one last shot at that on her third attempt to get a bench press in and continue competing in the competition. Jessamay Tabuan of the Philippines now, 65 kilos. This will move her into bench press gold. And does it with ease, it seems. 2-1, a good lift. A depth call from the right-hand side referee, and she dances off the platform very sweetly there. Mirelle van der Bosch, Netherlands, 65 kilos, a 2.5 kilo jump from her opener, and this will move her into silver position in bench press for the time being, heading into third attempts. And it looks good from here. 3 white lights, a good lift. And what was turning out to be a close race for second and third, the gap has opened as Scuderi hasn't got a bench press in, and should she miss her last, it will be a scramble for first as well. Sri Lakshmi of India now, 67.5 kilos. Ooh, just seems a little bit too heavy today, unfortunately. She has another try of that on her third. And if she gets it, she will take away bench press gold, but it just looks a little hard. We have 70 kilos now for Sara Chiavino in the 43 kilo category. This is just 5 kilos below the world record. So as I predicted, should this go well, I imagine we'll see her going for it on her third. But 70 kilos must fall first. And it looks good. 3 white lights, a good lift. And she smiles and runs off the platform. I think she knows what that means. I think we know what that means. I'm excited to see it. The heaviest bencher in this flight being from the 43 kilo class is really exciting. And we move straight through to third attempt. Kicking us off, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico, 27.5 kilos. Missed it on her second. It just seemed a little bit heavy. But reattempting it now on her third. And she gets it up this time round. Ooh, but unfortunately, it is a no lift. She has 3 yellows. And I'm wondering there if there was some butt lift. I think I can see her hips moving. And it's worth reminding that she is considerably lighter than her competition, weighing in at 37.64 kilos. 42.5 for Karina Chaikova of Kazakhstan for her third and final attempt. And she fights it up. 3 white lights, a good lift, and a perfect call for her last attempt there. That was her absolute limit, and she did a great job of pushing through it. $55 kilos now for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. A little too heavy today, unfortunately, but still walks away with bench press silver in the 43s. We have 55 kilos for Julia Maslankowska of Poland. Ooh, fights through that really well. And 2-1, a good lift. Just a depth call from that right-hand side referee. But I think she's safe there with that really good elbow flare there. Now, one of our 2 Italian lifters yet with a bench in. We have Martina Fortuna of Italy, 57.5 kilos. Missed it on her opener, missed it on her second, and it's still a bit of a mystery on what. It looked like she jumped the command twice. And I'm hoping it's not strength. This is her final attempt to continue and post a total. Unfortunately, she listened out for the press command, but it was just too heavy for her today, and unfortunately, she cannot post a total or compete overall, but she can continue competing for individual medals should she choose to. Now, a similar situation, we have her teammate Marta Scuderi of Italy, missed 65 kilos twice. It wasn't on strength, the strength is clearly there. She got called for elbow depth on both her opener and her second, looking to convince just one more referee this time round that it is deep enough. She is our current projected leader in the 47s, and should she miss this, the door gets blown wide open. Let's go, Marta. 65 kilos. She needs this. Again, the strength is there, but is the depth? 3 white lights, a good lift. And I bet she didn't think she would be celebrating her opening attempt that much. On her last try, she gets the 65 kilos and stays in the competition, stays in the lead. And Jessamay type 1 now of the Philippines, 67.5 kilos to move into bench press gold ahead of Scuderi, who just got 65 kilos as we saw on her final attempt after missing it twice. Can Jessamay tab 1 take the bench press gold? Ooh, she pushes through. And it looks good from here. And 3 white lights, a good lift. She charges off the platform. She moves into bench press gold. And it can only be taken away by Sri Lakshmi of India. But first up, we have Marel van den Bosch of the Netherlands, 67.5 kilos to move into bench press silver from bronze ahead of Scuderi. Unfortunately, it's just too heavy today for her, but still walks away with bench press bronze for the time being. We now have Sri Lakshmi of India, 67.5 kilos, missed it on her second, is looking to move straight into bench press gold here on her third, should she get this. And she pushes through. Is it a good lift? The anticipation is high. Oh, unfortunately, 2-1, a no lift. A depth call from the center referee and a yellow from the side referee. Unfortunately, not there for her today. Our final bench of the session did not go for the record at 75 kilos. Maybe thinks she's near her limit here. Sara Chiavino of Italy, 72.5 kilos for her third and final attempt. Should she get this, she'll be leading into deadlifts by 17.5 kilos. She already has bench press gold. And she is fighting, definitely at her limit, a smart choice there. And unfortunately, 2-1, a no lift gets called for depth from both side referees, but still leads into deadlifts with a 15-kilo lead ahead of the pack. And that concludes our bench press for this morning's session. Very quickly, we have in the sub-juniors 43 bench press gold, Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain. In silver, Kristina Yulinik of Ukraine. Oh, and the jury has overruled that last bench to a good lift for Italy. Scuderi does get that last lift. Is a good lift. And Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary in bronze. In the 47 sub-juniors, we have Paola Calero Bagno of Spain in gold for bench press, Jena Tarvainen of Finland in silver, and Julia Jurczyk of Poland in bronze. In the junior 43-kilo category, we have Sara Giavino of Italy, who just got that bench press overturned to a good lift. In gold, Veronica Ompod of the Philippines in silver, and Karina Chikova of Kazakhstan in bronze. Now in the 47-kilo junior category, for bench press gold, we have Jessame Tabwan from the Philippines. In silver, we have Marta Scuderi of Italy. And in bronze, we have Marel van den Bosch of the Netherlands. Don't go anywhere. We will be back in about 8.5 minutes for deadlifts. We will see you then.
The deadlift is the last movement of the powerlifting competition. On that movement, the lifter's whole body is used and put to the test. The athlete approaches the bar once the central referee calls bar loaded. He then has 1 minute
To start the lift.
In the conventional or sumo position, the athlete has to pull the barbell until his shoulders, hips, and knees are fully locked. Once that position is assumed by the lifter, the central referee will give the down command. The bar has to be lowered to the ground without the lifter being allowed to drop it until it touches the floor, which completes the lift. At the end of deadlift, the powerlifting total is made, which determines the winner and final placings. There are 4 main mistakes to avoid. First, not locking your shoulders, hips, or knees at the end of the movement. Second, not completing the lift with a single upward bar movement. Third, completing the lift hitching at the legs in order to allow you to do so. Fourth, dropping the bar after the central referee down command.
Hello and welcome back. This morning we have the 43 kilo and 47 kilo sub-junior and junior women. In our first flight will consist of the sub-junior 43 and 47 kilo women. As you can see on screen, we have the subtotals heading into deadlifts, with Tiffany leading the 43 kilo sub-junior class and Paula Calero Baño of Spain leading the 47 kilo class. It's a tight race there in the 47s. Out first we have Kirase Ishii of Japan, 60 kilos. It was nice and speedy. 2-1, a good lift. Just gets called there in the center for, I think, soft knees. And yeah, unfortunately, the jury has overruled that to a no lift. Yeah, unfortunately, her knees aren't quite locked out there. 75 kilos for Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary. Nice strong looking opener there. And a good lift. I think it's the first time we've seen her with a belt on. She didn't squat with a belt on. It's interesting to see her deadlift with one. $80 kilos for Trinity Klinger of the United States. Nice and snappy there, and a good lift. Kristina Ulinik of Ukraine, 85 kilos. A little sticky there at lockout, manages to do the job it seems. And 3 white lights, a good lift. 87.5 kilos for Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain. Currently with the lead in the 43 kilo category. A little hard off the ground, but as soon as she gets it up, it's super snappy and a good lift. We have Jenna Tavainen of Finland now, opening on 90 kilos, just half a kilo below her current best, which would be a Finnish record. And stands it up, a good lift. Interesting form there, as her knee seems to cave as she pulls through there on that conventional lift. You can see she pulls up from the floor and her knees almost knock together there. That's more seen on squat than it is on deadlifts. We have Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland, 90 kilos. A nice, strong-looking opener. And a good lift. Tessa Roberts of Mexico, opening on 95 kilos. Nice, easy looking opener for Tessa. And a good lift. We have Pragati Nair of India, 105 kilos for her opening attempt. Ooh, unfortunately, just a little bit too quick it seems. Locks it out, but is thrown then back forwards by what seems like a bit of a speed wobble. You can see here, she's very quick to get it into the lockout position, but just as quick to fall out of it as her shoulders tip forwards. Strength is definitely not an issue. Hopefully she can just keep balance there on her second. We have Julia Jurczyk of Poland, 105 kilos. Manages to hold lockout and it's a good lift. We have our penultimate opening attempt now. Paula Calero Baño of Spain, 105 kilos. And it is a good lift. Looks like a really nice, easy opener for the lifter. Wants to keep as far ahead as possible now that the gap can be slightly closed with Dongli Gu of Chinese Taipei, who's moved her opener up to 112.5 kilos. And wow, that looked easy as pie. Yeah, she had put her opener in as 100 kilos before, so had moved it slightly up and is trying to close the gap between her and Calero Baño. Often you'll see coaches put in false openers for the lifters to try and pull the wool over the eyes of their competition and perhaps instill some either false confidence or some fear. People put in openers too high sometimes and bring them down, and vice versa. And it will all be unfolded here in deadlifts. We move through to our second attempt, and we have Kirase Ishii of Japan. Just didn't get 60 kilos as she was unable to lock her knees out. Hoping to get it now on her second. Just needs to straighten those knees. And I think that looks slightly better. The referee is happy with it. Yep, 3 white lights, a good lift. She has a deadlift on the board and has secured her total. Of course, getting a deadlift on doesn't just mean growing your total, it means you've secured it overall. You can take a bit of a sigh of relief, knowing that at least that is done with. 85 kilos for Trinity Klinger of the United States, a 5 kilo jump for Trinity. A little bit of a wobble at the top there, and yeah, unfortunately, 2-1, a no lift. Just as she got to lock out, wobbled back forwards, her shoulders came forwards with the bar before locking out again. She's a really close grip, holding onto the smooth of the bar there. $90 kilos now for Kristina Ulinik of Ukraine. Trying to keep tight behind Pilnikova. Ooh, and it is difficult, and there was some downwards movement and some hitching there, I'm afraid. So that'll be a no lift for Ulinik. And of course, she has another shot of it on her third. She needs to do her best to pull it up in one clean movement. Ada Imola Yuka of Hungary, jumping 15 kilos to 90. This is a big jump in the 43 kilo category. And unfortunately, it's too big for Ada. It is too heavy. 15 kilos is over a third of their body weight. So to jump that is an absolutely huge jump. We now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain jumping 5 kilos to 92.5. This would put her 12.5 kilos ahead of Ulinik if Ulinik gets her 90. And when she breaks the ground and locks it out, wow, so patient off of the ground. And it pays off. 3 white lights, a good lift. Talks to her coach about maybe what to put on the bar for the third. That's typically what you see from sumo. Patience and difficultness off the floor. And then a speedy lockout. And the opposite is true with conventional most of the time. We have Jenna Tavainen of Finland now, 95 kilos. And has a similar knee caving sort of thing going on there on her second, but 2-1, a good lift. Just trying to see here what the blue would have been for. I think just trying to use his legs to assist there. But the jury seem happy with it, so it'll stay as a good lift. You have Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland jumping 10 kilos to 100 kilos for her second attempt. And it's still nice and tidy. And it is a good lift for Lydia. A 10-kilo jump for Tessa Roberts of Mexico, 105 for her second attempt. This will be a matched deadlift PB for the 16-year-old. And also pull her into deadlift silver for the time being. It's going to be a close race overall and for deadlift medals here in the 47-kilo class. And it is a good lift. $110 kilos for Julia Jurczyk of Poland. Lets out a scream, and it is a good lift. And that pulls her into deadlift silver for the time being. And third overall. Now, Pragati Nair of India missed 105 kilos on her opener. It was a bit of a speed wobble, and I think she knows it. She's gone up 7.5 kilos for her second and manages this time to keep it locked out. 3 white lights, a good lift. Very rarely do we see that kind of risk pay off there, as if she missed that, she would have been left to getting it on her third attempt, but did a great job. I think with the issue she had, it almost being too light, made a good call there. We have Paula Calero Baño of Spain, jumping 7.5 kilos from her opener to 112.5. And a good lift, still plenty in the tank to go for her third attempt. We now have our final deadlift attempt of second attempts before we move through to thirds. And we have Donglei Gu of Chinese Taipei jumping 7.5 kilos to 120. Manages to lock it out there very clearly. 3 white lights, a good lift. And pulls herself into silver position overall, heading into third attempts. Was nominated third originally overall and has pulled herself up the ranks there as the day's gone on by building a total slowly. We get the bar clean down now and we can have a look at the standing as we are heading into third and final attempts. We have Kirase Ishii of Japan, missed 60 kilos on her opener for soft knees, got it on her second, and now jumps 15 kilos to her third and final attempt. This is a huge jump for this weight class. but it treats her well. And 2-1, a good lift. Just a blue from the right-hand side referee for soft knees, I think, there at the end. And unfortunately, the jury has overruled that to a no lift. We now have 90 kilos for Kristina Ulinik of Ukraine. Already has deadlift silver and silver overall. She's not trying to pull for the win. She missed this on her second. Looking for it now on her third. She hitched it last time with some downwards movement. Well, that looks much better this time round. Let's see if the referees agree. They do. 3 white lights, a good lift. A great end to the day there for Ulinik. 90 kilos for Trinity Klinger of the United States. Missed 85 on her second, has gone up 5 kilos anyway. For her third, this won't change her position overall, but it will be for a 10 kilo PB. Locks it out. And 3 white lights, a good lift. Very rarely do I see any lifters hold the smooth of the bar for deadlifts. We now have Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain already walking away your 43 kilo sub-junior champion, taking 95 kilos for her third and final attempt. This will match her deadlift PB. She nods as she gets it up. 3 white lights, squat gold, bench gold, deadlift gold, and gold overall for Tiffany Pilnikova of Great Britain. But the lifting continues. We have Jenna Tavainen of Finland taking 100 kilos for her third and final attempt. But unfortunately, it's just not quite there today. I think we could tell from her knees caving more so from her first to her second that she was reaching her limit. And it's just hard to pull through from that position. We have 110 kilos for Tessa Roberts of Mexico. She breaks the ground. She does look it out. And 3 white lights, a good lift. I was a little worried she used her legs there to assist, but I think she just accidentally knocked the bar as she went up. And we've had an attempt change. Julia Jurczyk of Poland has changed her final attempt, but first up we have Lydia Greszkowiak of Poland, 110 kilos. This will be a 10 kilo PB for Lydia, should she get this. And she's still fighting through it, but she is frozen just there above her knees. Unfortunately, just a little bit too heavy today for Lydia, and a no lift. Julia Jurczyk of Poland, 115 kilos. I believe it dropped it now. Currently sat in 3rd place overall. This will give her deadlift silver. Should she get this? Can she fight through that? She's still pulling, but unfortunately, it's just a little bit too heavy for her today. Yeah, you can see her continue to fight. She's okay. She's up and standing now. Just got a little lightheaded after her deadlifts there. But she put everything she had into it. You can't say she didn't try. A fantastic effort. As it stands, she also still sits in bronze overall. 117.5 kilos for Paula Calero Baño of Spain. Should she get this, she will be uncatchable by Gu. And it looks like she does. 3 white lights, a good lift. And Gu would have to add 7.5 kilos more to what she's already put in for her 3rd to take the win. We now have 120 kilos for Pragati Nair of India. Missed 105 for a speed wobble, up to anyway, got 112.5. And it looks like 120 was no issue for her. 3 white lights, a good lift, and that pulls her into deadlift silver ahead of Calero Baño. We have just 1 deadlift left of the sub-junior category. Dong Lei Gu of Chinese Taipei already walking away in silver place overall, and with deadlift gold to add 5 kilos to her deadlift PB and to her total. She attempts 125 for her 3rd attempt. And she locks it out. And it is a good lift. 3 white lights. A fantastic end to the day. Managed to move herself from bronze to silver from predicted outcomes. Don't go anywhere. We are heading straight through to the junior lifters in the 43 and 47 kilo categories. And kicking us off, we have Valeria Sedano of Mexico with 85 kilos. A little bit of trouble at lockout, but manages to pull it through. And it is a good lift. – 100 kilos for Karina Chaikova of Kazakhstan. And it is a good lift. Of course, with many of these deadlift attempts getting in, it also means that they secure their total, with the only exception being Fortuna of Italy, who didn't manage to get a bench in. We now have Sri Lakshmi of India, 105 kilos for her opening attempt. And a pretty funky setup there. I like the pizzazz. And 3 white lights, a good lift, and maybe my favorite deadlift setup ever.
Julia Maslankowska, Poland, the bar is ready. 105 kilograms.
105 kilos for Julia Maslankowska of Poland. That is a good lift.
Coming up next, Nalo van den Bosch from Netherlands, plus 117.5.
117.5 kilos on the bar for Marel van der Bosch of the Netherlands. Nice speedy opener and a good lift.
Coming up next, Veronica Orbach from Philippines, entering 120 kilograms. The bar is ready.
We have 120 kilos for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. Nice tidy opener and 3 white lights, a good lift. A clinical looking sumo there. Sara Giavino of Italy, opening on 120 kilos. Current world junior record is 146 kilos. And it is a good lift.
From Italy, and climbing 127.5.
127.5 kilos for Martina Fortuna of Italy. Unfortunately was unable to get a bench press in, so cannot post a total or compete overall, but can still compete for individual medals and the invaluable experience you get here on an international platform. Locks it out, and what incredible patience off the ground there. 3 white lights, a good lift.
From Philippines. The bar is ready.
132.5 kilos for Jessame Tabwan of the Philippines. Wow, lovely and speedy. Plenty left in the tank and a good lift.
Coming up next is Marta Scuderi from Italy, trying 140 kilograms. The bar is ready.
We now have Marta Scuderi of Italy opening on a huge 140 kilos. And should she get this, she'll be leading the pack by 20 kilos. $25 kilos, I'm sorry. And she does with ease. 3 white lights, a good lift.
Coming up next, Valeria Sedano from Mexico, trying
And has a considerable lead on her competitors. That concludes our opening attempts. We'll move straight through now to our second attempt, and it's great to say that everybody has secured an opening attempt and a total by the exception of one lifter. Just getting the bar clean there to get all the talc and chalk out of it for the lifters. We have Valeria Sedano of Mexico jumping 5 kilos to 90 for her second attempt. This is well over double body weight for Valeria. She nods as she locks it out. Waits to see what the referees say. And 3 white lights, a good lift, blows kisses to the crowd. $105 kilos for Karina Chaikova of Kazakhstan. Oh, just unfortunately too heavy today for Karina. But she's pretty comfortable sat in bronze overall, especially with Sedano of Mexico choosing to not come out for a third. We now have Julia Maslankowska of Poland, 110 kilos. Lovely and patient, and it pays off. And it is a good lift. We have Sri Lakshmi of India, 112.5 kilos for her second attempt. And that is a good lift. Marel van den Bosch of the Netherlands, 122.5 kilos her second attempt. still looking super speedy there on her second. And it is a good lift. It'll be a close race between her and Tab 1 of the Philippines for that silver medal overall. Sara Chiavino of Italy, 127.5 kilos. And should she get this, she will have a 310 kilo total, just 3.5 kilos below the total record in the 43 kilo juniors. And she locks it out. And I imagine she'll be chasing that world record total on her third. Veronica Ompod of the Philippines, 130 kilos. For her second attempt, a 10 kilo jump from her opener to pull her into deadlift gold. And still looking nice and easy there on her second. 3 white lights, a good lift, and leaves her with lots left in the tank heading into thirds. Martina Fortuna of Italy, 132.5 kilos for her second attempt. This will move her into deadlift silver. And it is moving. Wow, I didn't think that would break the floor, but she locks it out. And 3 white lights, a good lift. Fantastic effort there. Such patience off the floor, and she is rewarded for it with those extra 5 kilos. Jessa May Tabwan of the Philippines, jumping 10 kilos to 142.5 for her second attempt. She'll be fighting Vanden Bosch for silver overall. And that is a good lift. We have one final second attempt before we head into thirds and find out who will end up where with what medal. But first up, we have Marta Scuderi of Italy, jumping 10 kilos to 150 for her second attempt. This is over 3 times body weight.
Marta, 150 kilos on the bar.
And does it with considerable ease. Wow, 3 white lights, a good lift. And she jumps into the arms of her coach, celebrating. She can't be caught overall, but she's going to try and increase that lead anyway. And we head into third attempts, and as you can see, the fight is going to be close in second and third for Tabwan and Van den Bosch. I'm sure we will see changes, attempt changes and fights, and that's what deadlifts are all about. Karina Chikova of Kazakhstan now, 105 kilos. Couldn't budget from the floor last time round. Will this time be any different? Unfortunately not, just too heavy for her today. But she still walks away with bronze overall and in deadlifts.
And moving on now to Julia Maslantsova from Poland, the
Julia Maslankowska, Poland, 112.5 kilos, a 2.5 kilo jump from her second. And that is a good lift. And she jumps into the arm of her coach. She is over the moon with that, and so she should be. $125 kilos for Sri Lakshmi of India. This will be a 5 kilo personal best. Unfortunately, it is just glued to the ground. Too heavy today.
Coming up next, Nelly van den Bosch, Netherlands, tries 130 kilograms. The bar is heavy.
Marel van den Bosch of the Netherlands, 130 kilos, and this will pull her from bronze overall into silver for the time being, with tab 1 to follow. But this will make it hard for tab 1. And she locks it out. A fantastic looking third attempt, and at 3 white lights, a good lift.
Trying 132.5. This is a world junior level record attempt.
And now, as I alluded to before, Sara Chiavino of Italy is taking 132.5 for her final attempt, and this is for a world junior total record of 315 kilos. Should she get this, she will be the new total record holder in the 43 kilo junior category. Can she do it for a world record? Looks like she can. She locks it out. And a new world junior total record for Sara Chiavino of Italy. Absolutely amazing. She's had an incredible day. She also walks away your 43 kilo junior champion. 135 kilos now for Veronica Ompod of the Philippines. I think there was some confusion there, but here she comes. Still 39 seconds left on the clock. And luckily, deadlifts have the least commands. This will pull her into deadlift gold in the 43 kilo category. She already has silver. Unfortunately, just too heavy for her today, but she still walks away with the silver deadlift medal and silver overall. Martina Fortuna of Italy now, 135 kilos. Walking away with the bronze deadlift medal. Wow, absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, couldn't quite lock it out today, but what an incredible fight. Each time it looked like she wasn't going to break the ground, and she did. The patience it takes to do that is incredible, and the strength. We have just 2 deadlifts left here in the 47 kilo class. And this will be to pull Jessamay into 2nd overall, ahead of Van der Bosch. So for one last time, 145 kilos for Jessamay Tab1 of the Philippines to pull herself into silver medal position ahead of Van der Bosch. She already has bronze, but she wants one up. Can she get it? Weighing 200 grams lighter, this means she would win the silver on body weight. But unfortunately, just a bit too much for her today. Still walks away with deadlift silver and bronze overall. Now our final deadlift attempt of the session. We have one more lift before the entire session is over for these women. Marta Scuderi of Italy, 157.5 kilos, already has deadlift gold and gold overall to finish the day on a high with a 5 kilo PB. And it's moving, wow. And it seemed easy for Marta. 3 white lights, a good lift. And she screams and jumps into the arms of her coach. And I didn't expect anything less, considering that was the same reaction she had for her 150. And what an end to a fantastic session. We will have the medal ceremony very shortly. And as you can see here, in the 43 kilo junior category, walking away with gold, we have Sara Chiavino of Italy with a new junior world record total in the 43s. In silver, Veronica Ompod of the Philippines, and in bronze, Karina Chaikova of Kazakhstan. In the 47 kilo category, we have Marta Scuderi of Italy in gold, Mirelle van den Bosch of the Netherlands in silver, and Jessa May Tabwan of the Philippines in bronze. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will have the medal ceremony very shortly and be joining me back here at 1 o'clock local time for the 59 kilo men.
We're beginning the medal ceremony. All of our lifters have received their participation medal, starting with the best results, 33 kilograms sub-juniors with squats. The third place goes to Hungary, Ada Imola Zhuka. Kristina Ulyanik from Ukraine, second. And the gold goes to Great Britain, Tiffany Pinikova. Thank you very much. Moving to bench press, the third place goes to Hungary, Ada Imola Zhuka. No changes on the second place, Ukraine, Kristina Ulyanik. And the gold goes to Tiffany Pinkova, Great Britain. Thank you very much. Nothing changes on the deadlift. Ada Imola Zhuka from Hungary is the third. Second comes Ukraine's Kristina Ulyanik. And the gold goes to Great Britain, Tiffany Pinikova. The same thing happens on the totals. Nothing changes there. So Ada Imola Zhuka, the third place, Kristina Ulyanik from Ukraine, second, and the gold goes to Tiffany Pinikova, Great Britain. Please stand for Great Britain's national anthem. Moving now to juniors, 43 kilograms starting with squats. The third place goes to Kazakhstan, Karina Tushkova. Sara Charanima from Italy is second. And the gold goes to Filipinas, Veronica Opel. Thank you very much. Moving now to bench press. Not much changes, but Kazakhstan is third, Karina Tishkova. Second is Filipinas, Veronica Opel. And the gold heads for Italy, Sara Ceravino. Thank you very much. Moving to deadlift. Nothing changes. Here Kazakhstan's third, Karina Tuchkova. Second is Veronica Opel from the Filipinas. And Italy heads first with Sara Ceravino. the same thing. You can stay there. Kazakhstan is third with Karina Ishkova. Filipina second, Veronika Opon, and Italy gets the gold, Sara Czernyna. Please stand for Italy's national anthem.
Everybody stand up, please.
Moving up now to 47 kilograms sub-junior, starting with squats. The third place goes to Taipei, Dong Liu. Mexico is second, Tessa Roberts. And Spain gets the gold, Paola Guano. Thank you very much. Moving now to bench press, third place goes to Poland, Julia Jurczyk. Finland is second, Jana Tarhainen. And the gold goes once again to Spain, Paola Carrero-Bano. Thank you very much. The best results for deadlift now. The third place goes to Spain, Paola Carrero-Bano. Pragati Nair from India is second. And the gold heads for Taipei, Dong Liu. Thank you very much. Heading now for totals, the third place goes to Poland, Julia Jurczyk. Second is Taipei, Dong Liu. And Spain gets first, Paola Carrero-Bano. If you please stand for Spain's national anthem. Congratulations, Spain! Up next, 37 kilograms juniors, starting with squats. Third is Italy, Martina Fortuna. Netherlands gets second, Marion van den Bosch. And the gold is covered by Italy, Marta Scuderi. Thank you very much. Moving now to bench press, starting with the third place, Netherlands, Marion van den Bosch. Furedi from Italy second. And the gold goes to Filipinas, Jessa Mae Camon. Congratulations. Heading for deadlift now, the third place goes to Italy, Martina Fortuna. Filipinas is second, Jessa Mae Camon. And the gold heads for Italy, Marta Scuderi. Thank you very much. Moving now to totals, the third place goes to Filipinas, Jessa Mae Camon. Netherlands gets second, Melle van den Bosch. And Italy goes first with a staggering 235 kilograms, Marta Scuderi. Let's stand for Italy's national anthem. Great job, Italy. Great job.